So I've dragged in the Australian DEM, which I gave you. Currently it's colored from -16 meters in blue to almost 2 kilometers in red. I'm going to choose a different color scale that kind of fits better with topography perhaps. Hold on, sorry. And it's this one. It's the green is low and brown is high. So I'm going to find it here. There we go. So it goes this way, which is the opposite. So I'm going to go here and invert the color ramp and apply. Again, we can see that most of Australia is quite low, but what we can do is, instead of having a linear continuous scale, I can have something that splits the colors into different intervals, and the best one for this is quantile. So we have kind of exaggerated Australia's topography to see better. Anyways, an aside. I'm going to import the data we created for the stream flows. So first of all, let's put on the streams. It's very hard to see with this color, so I'm going to make this simple line black. I'm going to scroll into this part of Victoria. Again, so many streams. I probably don't need them all. Maybe I don't need them on the map because it's so crowded. I'm going to turn them off for now. I'm going to add the data table I created, which is this one. You have the different rivers. Let's call it river. Werribee, Arvin, Wingen, a latitude, a longitude, and some numbers for 2017 and 2019. These are not the right numbers, but you'll have your numbers. So I'm going to open this file. I called it data. And it will use point coordinates. You'll notice that in mine, it didn't recognize that latitude and longitude are X and Y. So I'm going to insert them myself. So along the X is along longitudes, and along Y, it's along latitudes. So once I've done that, also make sure your geometry CRS, your coordinate reference system, is here. We're in WGS 84. You're starting to recognize that, you know, the -37 and 144. I'm adding that. So here are my points. You can see them. These are my 3 rivers. And like we talked about in class, we kind of want to make this a little bit more informative. So instead of just showing data, a point where the data is, I'm going to display the actual data. So I went to the pie diagrams here, pie chart. They also have other types of chart, but let's stick with pie. And in my pie chart, I'm going to have 2 attributes, the 2017 suspended sediment and the 2019, and I can choose 2019 to have a different color. And there they are, pie charts of the values of QGIS. I'm also going to add a label so that I know which river is which. And I've selected here field 1, which has the sites. And I can apply that. And here are my sites. Sometimes you'll notice that the label can't be seen, and it's because it's behind the pie chart. We can move the label by selecting placement. Currently it's the distance is 0 millimeter from that symbol, but we can make the distance larger, and then when you look at where the label is, you'll see that it's further away. So that's that. Now I want to print this out in the print composer. I'm going to select a print make a new one. And as you remember, we insert the map. We can add a scale bar. And this time, I would also like to add a grid. Now, on my map properties, I can add grids. I'm going to add a new one. because you can have more than one. Grid 1, let's modify it. So, what type of grid do I want? I want a grid every 1 degree. Let's see what happens when I do that. Okay. It might be a bit too crowded for you. You might want to maybe run it every 5 degrees, or maybe 5 is too small, but let's leave it at 1 degree. Currently we have a grid that's solid, so the lines extend all through the map. But we can have other types. We can put in a frame. That's a zebra frame. I like those ones. But you can have, for example, that the grid has only the frame. Or you can have lines through it. And those lines are every degree. And we can scroll down here and also draw the coordinates. You can see the coordinates all around the image. So that's how we add a grid. There are lots of things to play with here. You can change the font. You can decide that you want the coordinates names inside the frame rather than outside. Currently they have 3 digits after the decimal. You can drop it to 0. So all those things can happen in this grid. And that's all I wanted to show you in this video.